Okay, so today I wanted to do for you my top 5 things that the Democrats have accused Trump of doing that they've done the same or actually worse than. So these would be crimes that they've got off the hook for, or that they claim are really corrupt things that they blame people connected to Trump for. But we end up seeing that they've done them even in a worse fashion, or there's more evidence to show that they've done it. So number 5 is going to be FARA violations. Trump's campaign manager, Paul Manafort, sat in solitary confinement in part because allegedly in 2013 he failed to register as a foreign lobbyist when he was working for Ukrainians, lobbying for them in the United States. These Ukrainians were pro-Russian Ukrainians. The only problem is, in Mueller's indictment, he says that they were working with Group A and Group B. One of those groups was the Podesta Group, which was the group founded by Hillary Clinton's campaign manager. So you have two people committing the exact same crimes with the exact same people. Manafort went to solitary confinement, and the Podesta Group was allowed to retroactively file paperwork, and no charges were ever filed. So then we got number 4, which is lying to the FBI. Now, Mike Flynn was accused and charged of lying with the FBI. Now, we know that's not the case. If you check out my videos of the 302s, unbelievably, the FBI doesn't take video or audio recording of their statements. Instead, they keep notes called 302s. The 302 showed that Flynn said, "I don't remember, I could have said that, but I just don't remember." That's not a lie, in referencing his conversation with his counterpart in Russia. But nonetheless, let's assume he was charged for lying. They've gone after him. They tried to get him to flip on Trump. Meanwhile, we know from FBI 302s from Peter Strzok and publicly released emails that Hillary attorneys Mills and Abedin both lied to the FBI. Both of them claimed that they had no knowledge of Hillary Clinton's server until after her tenure as Secretary of State. But emails show that's not true, that they knew as far back as 2010. In addition to that, we've seen statements from the FBI that were made public saying that some of the agents thought the fact that Hillary thought that the C at the top of the document she was reading meant alphabetical order defied credulity. In other words, it was a lie. That's what they thought. So here we have Mills, Abedin, and Hillary herself lying, and their punishment was no punishment whatsoever. Number 3 is going to be obstruction of justice. Trump was accused of obstruction of justice for all sorts of things. They're accusing him about the Ukraine thing. They accused him for firing Comey, even though Republicans, Democrats, and even Rod Rosenstein wrote a letter. They all wanted Comey fired. They accused him of because he was grousing about the Mueller report and suggesting get rid of him, even though he never did. And Mueller admitted his investigation was never hindered, as did Comey. The investigation went without a hitch, but they said, well, because Trump said mean things and he fired Comey, that possibly that was obstruction of justice. The same people that say that had no problem when Hillary Clinton's team actually deleted subpoenaed emails. So what had happened was Congress subpoenaed like 30,000 something emails, and Hillary Clinton's team a few days later said, oops, we deleted them. The defense they gave was, well, we had a big pile of emails set apart to delete, and we just forgot to delete them until after they were subpoenaed. You try that excuse if you ever delete subpoenaed evidence from the FBI or any law enforcement agency. Nonetheless, we found out that that story was bogus as well, because a Reddit user named Katika found out that the IT guy that actually used the bleach bit to delete the emails, he was on Reddit the day before he did that, and he was looking how to get a, quote, very VIP's name off the email chain. Now, if you were going to delete a big pile of emails tomorrow anyways, why would you bother taking off specific names from those email chains? Well, it's because they lied. Nonetheless, Hillary's team was not charged with obstruction of justice. No one who thinks that Trump should be charged or should be impeached or goes on and on about it every day has word one to say about actually doing the number one thing that is the most evidence that you could be blatantly of obstructing justice, which is deleting evidence. Number 2 is going to be asking for help in investigations from foreign countries. This is what we see Trump's being accused of now, because he asked the Ukraine about investigating possible 2016 election interference that benefited the DNC and came from Ukraine. That is in the case of CrowdStrike, in the case of people like Lyshenko that have publicly acknowledged 2 months before the election that they were interfering to help Hillary Clinton, him and other Ukrainian officials. But also the case of Joe Biden, which, as I've explained before, it's tantamount to election interference, because Biden was seeking to bury a story that could have hurt the DNC going into the 2016 elections. So Trump asking for that evidence, they're saying is impeachable, it's a crime, how dare they? They're all foaming at the mouth about it all week over this. Nonetheless, we know that Obama's administration actually worked with allies in the UK, in Australia. They worked with the Ukraine. They also worked with Kremlin a spy from the UK who then used dirt from Kremlin officials. They used all of that information in their efforts to investigate Trump. Not only did these people not have a problem with it, but they cheered this relentlessly. They said the investigation should go on and on and on and on and on, and that it should leave no stone unturned. So on one hand, with Trump, it's impeachable, it's corrupt. When it was the Obama administration and his intel community that was there after he left, no one had a problem with it. And the number one thing that the Democrats accuse Trump of doing that they've done worse is foreign interference into the election. So Trump, it was accused because Don Jr. wanted to meet with a Russian and possibly get dirt on Hillary. Oh, that was treason, some people yelled. That's proof that they worked to steal the election. They accused Trump for 3 years of working with Russians to help get dirt to steal the election. Only problem is, after their investigation, Mueller was forced to admit, I don't see any evidence of that whatsoever. However, we do have several pieces of evidence that the Democrats did exactly that. First piece of evidence, we know that Hillary Clinton's team paid the foreign British spy to get dirt on Trump from Kremlin officials. We know that those Kremlin officials gave that dirt, and that dirt was not only effective, but it was the most effective piece of Russian interference, as it led to a 2-year investigation, and still something like 40% of Democrats polled think that Trump's a Russian stooge and that he conspired with Russians in 2016. In other words, a lie so effective that the FBI believed it, Obama's DOJ believed it, they spied on Trump, have a large section of the American public believed it, the media pushed it for 3 years. The most effective piece of propaganda that you could imagine. How did the Democrats treat this? Not only do they not care about that, but Mueller didn't even bother to investigate it. His entire charge was investigating Russian election interference, and he just didn't get around to investigating the most important part of Russian interference. Also, we know this story with Ukraine's true, as I was saying before, that this man Lyshenko was official in Ukraine, admitted that him and a bunch of other Ukrainian officials wanted Trump to lose so bad because they thought that his policies would be pro-Russia, and that would be bad for their political party in the Ukraine. So they publicly acknowledged to interfering not only by releasing dirt against Paul Manafort that was then taken by the DNC and used in the media to make Manafort resign and smear the Trump administration, or campaign at that time, but also they promised that they would continue their efforts. In the article I listed from the Financial Times, you actually had people in academia saying, when Hillary wins, we'll have Ukraine to thank. Thanks for their interference efforts. Yet where's the media? Where are the Democrats? Not only do they not want you to look at this, but they're saying if you try to, it's criminal. That's what the impeachment effort into Trump's about. So there you have it. It's no means a comprehensive list. Almost everything the Democrats accuse others of doing, they almost always do, in particular when it talks about corruption of Trump. So thanks for listening to this, everyone. I'm going to be trying to do live streams around 2:30 every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, so you can tune into that. And I'll be putting more content on as the week goes up. Follow me on BitChute and Twitter, which I'll have the links below. And please, I encourage you to share my content. So thanks, everyone, and have a good one.